You're listening to a Countout Podcast.
Welcome to Jumping Knee Pod, a modern-day All Japan Pro Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Jessica, and today with me for the first time ever is Christy.
Hello. This is really nerve-wracking, but really fun.
No, I'm adding another person to the Jumping Knee Pod family. It's very exciting. And it's exciting because Christy also has an All Japan podcast, so tell us about that.
Yeah, so like 5 months ago, I got into All Japan. And I make podcasts with James from the True Penny Show about New Japan. So I'm really used to just talking about the shit I watch with people. And I was getting so invested in All Japan, I wanted to talk about it with someone. But James doesn't have the time to add yet another promotion to his huge list. So he was like, well, I can't do it with you, but I can give you your own podcast and you can invite people. So I was like, well, okay. So last month we had our first podcast for All About All Japan, and it was a lot of fun. But like it's weird to be on the podcast with you because I listened to your podcast and it kind of inspired me that I could do it too. So I was like, well, if only she's okay with it, because I was kind of worried I was stepping on toes. But yeah, this is the third month of All About All Japan, and it's been really fun.
It's a really good listen. I'll say listen definitely to All About All Japan and Jumping Knee Pod because there's not a lot of All Japan stuff out there.
Thank you. I was kind of shocked when you said you listened to it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like I'm just talking to myself and no one actually listens. And when someone who's way more informed about All Japan than I am told me, yeah, I listened and it was fun, I was like, oh, thank God. They didn't hate it.
No, you're doing fun stuff. We'll get into something later that you're doing on the podcast, which, yeah, is really cool. But yeah, listen to All About All Japan. Give them some love because they just started out and I'm excited to see you guys grow. But Christy's here today. We're going to cover the February card, so only 4 shows. Basically a stock standard All Japan tour, but there's some very exciting things that happen. So we're just going to get into day 1. Naruki Doi and Senyu Sato defeated Seki Yoshioka and Tachi Nagao in 9 minutes and 54 seconds. Dan Tamura, Kenta Miyahara, and Ryu Inoue defeated Hokuto More, Jack Kennedy, and Azawa No. 1 in 10 minutes and 38 seconds. In a junior title match, Musashi defeated Kaoru Sato in 12 minutes and 54 seconds. Suwama, Fuminori Abe, Hideki Suzuki, and Takuya Nomura defeated Yuma Anzai, Rene Abe, Rising Hayato, and Riki Honda in 9 minutes and 59 seconds. Shota Ishino defeated Kuma Arashi in 12 minutes and 37 seconds. And in the main event, which was a World Tag Team title match, Jun Saito and Rei Saito defeated Yuma Aoyagi and Asuka Aoyagi in 24 minutes and 47 seconds. I want to start off with the junior title match. Hikaru Sato is always a good hand to have in the junior title scene. He can easily take a loss, and it's not really surprising if he wins a title because he's such a decorated junior in All Japan. I like this match. I didn't love it though. I think it was better than Doi versus Musashi, definitely. But I do really enjoy Hikaru Sato trying to break people's arms. That's always a favorite thing of mine on All Japan shows. Seiki Tachibana announced he was challenging next. He appeared in a pre-recorded video challenging Hikaru Sato, not Musashi. He was so sure Sato was going to win that he kept saying his name. Musashi's like pointing to himself like, no, I won. I'm the winner. I still have the belt. It was really cute. And like poor Musashi, he always gets stuff like this happening to him.
Yeah, I love this match. I feel like Sato is an interesting one. I called him an acquired taste. I didn't get him before I got into All Japan. Like the first thing you find out about him is he hurts people and he's a pervert.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I like one of those. Not sure about the other. And then you get to know him as a wrestler in All Japan. You're like, well, he's more than just that. Though the hurting people is definitely the main characteristic, I'd say, to him as a person. And then Musashi is just adorable. Like he is one of those very likable baby faces that you can actually like without feeling like he's pretending to be something that he isn't. And his relationship with the Yoshioka is really cute. And then the whole "they don't let me talk" thing is very funny. And I hope they keep that bit going for years. I talked about it with someone and I said they should just turn the stream off at the very end of the show. And when he's about to start talking, just turn it off. And he finds out after the fact that no one heard him. Yeah, and this match, I love like baby faces versus guys who want to kill them. And this is a prime example of that. Musashi being the underdog and then Sato being the bully in many ways. And him and Musashi overcoming that. It's a great story. And I am a story person, I'm a character person versus the athletics and the moves. Like I can barely recognize some of the finishes that guys have, or I barely know what a senton is. It's just I'm more for the vibes and the feelings and the stories. So this as a very basic story of good guy being tortured is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree with you about like not a moves person. I don't even know like half the moves that All Japan wrestlers do. I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't know the name for that, but it's cool. But yeah, the thing with Hikaru Sato is this guy was like trained by Suzuki. He's like a legit fighter, but he also loves wearing a grey knit dress. And he has a t-shirt where he's naked and it says "No nude, no life." He's just a weird guy. And then he gets in the ring and he wants to break people's arms.
That's kind of wrestling though. Like I compared it to some wrestlers need some sort of hobby. Like being a pervert is a hobby for him. Just to be less serious and less stressed. Just to get the bad energies out by being weird. And a lot of wrestlers in All Japan have that, just not in the pervert side of things.
Yeah.
Just the weird side of things. There's a lot of weirdos in All Japan. In wrestling in general, but in All Japan in particular as well.
So we're going to say congratulations to Ashino and Kuma Arashi, who celebrated their 10-year debut anniversary on this show. They went one-on-one with each other, and this match was exactly what you expected from these two, like big impact moves mixed with submission. It was a lot of fun to see someone turn inside out with a lariat. I always enjoy that. I love how they flip, and Ashino does it perfectly. He's great at it. All Japan had like signboards for the two men for fans to write congratulations or whatever they wanted. I love that the match card they made for them was like them like when they were younger. There was like 4 Ashinos on one side and 4 Kumas on the other side. It was so cute. And Kuma seemed like really appreciated for like everything All Japan did for him, like the match card and the sign card and stuff. Because he's not signed. I want him to be signed, but he's not signed. So I love these two guys, but I just want the best for them. And every Shino fan is like holding on to like this little glimmer of hope that one day he'll reach the top. And I think Goto winning finally the IWGP title is like Shino fans like have like now 2 glimmers of hope. Like if New Japan can do it, why can't All Japan? And Dragon Gate, they have KZ in a match tonight. So I'm like dating the show. This is the show that people think KZ is going to finally win the title. So we could have 3 glimmers of hope.
Don't think about it. Like before the Goto match, I was like, I'm not gonna get my hopes up because then it's gonna hurt more. Don't even go there. It's not happening.
Us Ashino fans, we take what we get.
Like I'm an Ashino fan too. Like I got into this and I saw this guy walking out. I'm like, who is that? He is handsome and really good. I was like, that's a Goto package for me. Like, and it fits a very similar mold for me, as in I am not a wrestling moves person or the wrestling athletic side person, but I can appreciate it and I can appreciate him. And that doesn't usually happen. Like suplexes aren't something I get excited about. I know a lot of people do. It's not my thing, but Ashino, I'm like, yes, for him, I get it. I see it. I appreciate it. And this match was a lot of fun because I have a soft spot for Kuma Arashi. Hokuto-kun seemed to like me for some reason. Two of them follow me and interact with me. And then Aizawa #1 shows up on my Twitter account occasionally to like shit. And I wonder how he got here. I'm like, are you mentioning my account in your group chat or whatever? What's going on? And Kuma Arashi replies a lot too. So I appreciate them a lot. I find them enjoyable. We'll talk about Hokuto, I'm sure, down the line. So watching them get their spotlight made me very happy. And they're two big dudes, but they're very casually throwing each other around, and that's a lot of fun to watch. Neither of these two are small, and yet they can manage to do that. And then Kuma doing that senton of the ring apron had me like, oh my god, I hope your stomach is okay because that looks horrible. Yeah, this was definitely one of my favorite matches for day one, before and after the match.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite matches of the whole tour for me. I really liked it. Moving on to the main event now. So Setos versus Aoyagis. This was just a ton of fun. The Satos looked like they were having fun, playing it up, and you can only really do that with these two brothers, the Aoyagis. I know people complain about you being too goofy. I don't care. We got a fun match with a little goof, but really good wrestling. And I'm sure the Aoyagis would have lost, but I thought Asuki would be taking the pin, but here's Yuma getting pinned. I was like, okay, why? First of all, because you think he's taking the pin, maybe he's winning the Triple Crown. Obviously, he didn't. Spoiler alert. Yeah, but it was weird. And something I don't really hear anyone say is that Yuma is such a good tag team wrestler. He knows how to get the crowd pumped up, and he's on the edge of their seats like he did here. I was on the edge of my seat watching this. I didn't watch this live, so I knew the Satos won, but there was a few spots where I was like, holy shit, Yuma's got this one. Like, he's so good at kicking out at the last second. He didn't. He lost. Kento came to the ring. He challenged for the tag belts with who else but Yuma. So business tag is back, but for me, they'll always be an Extreme. Extreme lives in my heart. I'll never give them up. I don't know. I have a suspicion these two will become the 100th tag team champions. What do you think?
This match was so much fun. I love Yuma Yagi. He's my favorite wrestler in All Japan. I love how pathetic he is. And I say that with all the affection in my heart. Like, that's the best thing about him. I love wrestlers that aren't afraid to look bad. You know, a lot of wrestlers just want to look like the best thing out there, the strongest, the coolest, and they don't want to sell for anyone. They don't want to look bad. They don't want to be ridiculous. And Yuma is like, I'll be ridiculous all day long. That's the best thing about my job. I love being pathetic. I love suffering. And those are the guys I love most to watch because they make you feel things. And Yuma is one of those rare wrestlers that can be a dork for 90% of the year. And then that 10% has you going, oh yeah, he's amazing when he turns it on. And even in matches like this, when there's quite a bit of comedy to it, you can see in him that he is in full control and he thinks about everything he does. And he thinks about how he can position Atsuki in a way to make him look good. And then the Saitos in a way that makes them look good. And that's just such a strength, I think, when it comes to him. And this match is like the contrast between the Saitos, who are kind of straight, if you know what I mean, like sensible big dudes, and then the weirdos in Atsuki and Yuma makes for a great combination. Like, it's just a lot of fun. and Atsuki not taking the pin, like, and spoiler alert, Yuma losing. This means Atsuki is the superior. Oh yeah, he should have challenged Jun for the Triple Crown. This is what that means, right?
I don't know.
No, I'm joking.
No, it's just Yuma's the big brother, Asuki's the younger. Older siblings can't let their younger siblings know they're doing better. It's just the rules.
Well, Atsuki feels like a guy who would tell Yuma, like, well, I didn't take the pin there, and I spoiler, won my match against Ray, and you lost against June. I think that means I'm winning on points.
There was a couple of years ago where Asuki was teasing Yuma because Yuma got knocked out, of course, in the first round of the Raw Road, and Asuki made it to like round 2 or 3. So he has before. He'll do it again.
That feels like their relationship, because I remember Kento and Yuma in that the half naked bong video that Ultraman put out, and Atsuki being like, "Look, it's my brother's ass" on Twitter. It's like, that's their relationship, and I enjoy it. I did have to laugh at the end there, because Kento comes out, right? And Atsuki has carried his brother back to the dressing room, and you can see him hear Kento talk about business tag, and like, oh, that's you. And then he physically turns Yuma around and he throws him into the ring, like, here he is, do with him what you want. And then Kento looks at him and is like, well, this guy is just lost. He's just proven that he can't beat the guys we're about to challenge, but I want him. And like, this is wrestler logic. Why would you want the guy who just lost to the guys you're going to challenge? But it's okay, because I look forward to this dynamic. I haven't been able to watch it yet because I've been going through the backlog of All Japan, but I've only gone through 2024, so I'm excited.
Yeah, Kento and Yuma have been tag team forever, and they always break up, get back together, break up, get back together, and now they're getting back together. But my only thought was, wouldn't it be so fucking cool if instead of Yuma Aoyagi, Kento called out Yuma Anzai? That's an unstoppable team. That's definitely 100th World Tag Team Champion material. And Kento says, I'm going to tag with people I haven't tagged with before, which is a lie. He's tagged with you plenty of times before. Or people I don't like. That's a lie. Yuma likes Kento.
I know, but you can't break apart Anzai and Hayato. You can't do that. Yuma Anzai would cry if you didn't get to stand next to Hayato.
Ugh. But
would.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Yuma and Kento to be together. I love them as a team. Do you want to say any more about day one?
I really enjoyed this day. I thought it was really good. Definitely better than day 2.
Yeah.
By the way, it was fun to see Nomura wrestle, because I haven't seen him all that much. I remember him from years ago. I had a friend who was absolutely obsessed with him. So one of those cases of, I've never seen you wrestle, but you're one of my friends' guys. And I know you by extension. So it's been fun to be able to get to know him during this show and the next couple.
Yeah, he's so good. We'll get into it more, but I love to see him back. So, day 2, our least favorite show on the card. A quick note before we get started. Jun Saito suffered an injury to his left foot, so the next 2 shows he's off. Taking his place is Kyushu Tokyo Japan. That is great or terrible depending on how you feel about Jiro. For me, not so good.
Jiro is interesting because as someone who's new to All Japan, I don't have the hatred for him that some of you guys have, because I'm not at the stage yet where I'm like, oh, this is going to take another 5 minutes, because I haven't had that yet. And I don't get to watch a lot live, so I just skip ahead. I was like, oh, this is where he's done. He's in the ring. Okay, let's go. So it's funny to me to see that reaction. Long-time fans.
Yeah, you're lucky you didn't watch the Champion Carnival last year. That was hard.
I am going through it now, and I just got to Hokuto Mori and a horse head. So fun times for me.
That boy. Anyway, the card for day 2, Seki Yoshioka defeated Tashi Nagao in 8 minutes and 41 seconds. Rei Saito defeated Jack Kennedy in 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Hideki Suzuki and Yuko Miyamoto defeated Dan Tamura and Shoto Ishino in 10 minutes and 10 seconds. In the 6-man tag team titles, Yuma Aoyagi, Fuminori Abe, and Hikaru Sato defeated Hokuto Morai, Kuma Arashi, and Tsuji Kondo in 12 minutes and 37 seconds. Kurisho Tokyo Japan defeated Seigo Tachibana in 8 minutes and 38 seconds. And in the main event, Kento Miyahara, Asuka Aoyagi, Musashi, and Ryu Inoue defeated Yuma Anzai, Ren Abe, Ryzen Hayato, and Riki Honda in 20 minutes and 35 seconds. Where do you want to start, Christy?
Okay, so I only have like 2 matches that I really want to talk about, and one of them has Shiro in it. So prepare yourself.
Yeah.
First of all, though, the 6-man tag title match, Abe, Aoyagi, Sato versus Hokuto Mori, Shuji Kondo, and Kobayashi. That was like madness. It was entertaining madness, but it was madness. Like the whole thing, this was on Valentine's Day. So the whole thing
No, the next show was on Valentine's Day.
Was it?
Yeah.
But this was the chocolate one, right? Or was it the next show?
The next show.
Oh, God. My nose mixed up. Yuma and Hokuto being in this match pretty much guarantees that I love this match. Because Yuma Aoyagi, like I already said, my favorite wrestler in All Japan. Perfect combination for me of a character, great wrestling, and a great comedy style. Like he has the greatest comedic timing that I've seen in a wrestler. And not afraid to look pathetic, not afraid to be silly. And then Hokuto Mori, maybe not quite as adept at the wrestling bit, but otherwise very similar to Yuma, like ridiculous, not afraid to look pathetic. Like his entire character is based on being pathetic and losing and being a failure. And I appreciate that in a wrestler. So these two have such a fun combination because they're like both expressive weirdos. And it's just that one wins and the other doesn't, and that's the only difference between them. And I think that's why they get along so well. They seem to really get each other's sense of humors. And I think they're like the same age, right?
I think Omori's a little bit older, but they're around the same age, yeah.
I think they are roughly the same age. So that makes it easier to get along. And you can tell that from this match and from their interactions. And then Shuji Kondo being in here, I don't think it was a success. I think Kuma Arashi enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it didn't really lead to any success because he ended up doing more for the other team than his own, which I sad, but happens. This is a Hokusho-kun team, and you're bound to lose. And I do like the logic of Hokuto-kun already having trouble working together, and then bringing in a third who isn't used to them, and that guy costing them the win. So yeah, what did you think about this match?
It was okay.
It was okay.
Like I've got stuff written. Like it's fun. The thing is about this match is I get why some people might not like what's going on with the 6-man titles, with the goofiness and stuff like, wrestlers come in like Kondo or Aja Kong, but they are being defended. And if you were there when they first introduced the belts, they didn't care about them at all. They disappeared. Like I literally went on Cage Match to look at the history. They had Tachibana, Yoshitatsu, and Takayuki Inoki held the titles 250 days and didn't defend it once. Then the belt were vacated for 264 days. Like it's been such a roller coaster with these belts. And then they gave it to like Suwama and Mayu Kiki and Ozaki, and it's like, okay, we're finally going on a roll. And then they stop and start and stop and start. So I like that they're being defended, even if it's goofiness and you hate it, too bad. It's what we got now. And I'm so happy that, they're giving Hokuto something to do because he needs something to do because he's too good to do nothing. And it annoys me so much because this guy went through World Tag League with Nakajima and he had this amazing storyline and he won Tag League. He pinned Yuma to win Tag League, and then he just like, nah, nothing else for you. See you, kid. Bye.
Yeah,
That
you
shows the
can
hell out of
tell
me.
you can tell he puts a lot of effort into wrestling. Like he's on Twitter and doing videos and stuff every day, and like even the whole cross-dressing bit, he thought of that. He
Yeah.
did that. He put time into that. He got the outfits or whatever. He puts a lot of effort into Hokuto-kun as well. Like he's constantly interacting and doing shit with his faction, and his faction is one with freelancers. Like none of them are signed to All Japan, but he puts a lot of effort into it anyway. Like yesterday, I talked to a friend of mine. Like Elpida and Hokuto-kun were created roughly around the same time, right? And then you've got Yuma Anzai, who's like the new star of the promotion, the super rookie, and he gets the main title and he gets everything, and he gets a faction full of very popular signed guys. And then you've got Hokuto Omori, who his entire story is I'm a failure, and he does get his own faction, but it's all freelancers. And yes, Kuma Arashi is around constantly, but he's not signed. It's different, and that's basically his story. And it kind of feels like that's how he gets treated as well. But I do like that he gets something to play with, and they allow him to do all this shit. And even with Aja Kong, like the whole bringing Aja Kong it's a big move. Like
Yeah.
it's funny and it's a one-off match, but it's still Aja Kong and it's still cool. So yeah.
Like, don't get it wrong. I love Hokuto Omori. I think he's great. I love that his faction is just these big guys. He's not thinking, okay, I'll get a tag team. Okay, I'll get a junior. We'll dominate All Japan. He's like, then just give me the biggest guys you got.
I love that about him. That's like he's the biggest loser, right? And somehow he's managed to get all these monsters to agree to be in his faction, to be like, yes, you can be our leader. There's no reason why you're our leader because you lose and you're horrible at it, and we are bigger than you and could squash you if we wanted to. But yes, you can be our leader.
Yeah.
I love that.
He has requested a final rematch. So we'll see that next month. Maybe third time's a charm. Who knows?
Is it third? I thought it was like fourth by now.
Probably. They've had so many. Who can tell? But yeah, I'll be honest. The match I was actually really looking forward to on this show didn't happen. It was supposed to be June versus Tachibana. Jiri took his place. I know you have stuff to talk about that match, so go ahead.
Okay, so just before I get started, I did not like the beginning of the match. Like it was annoying. I was like, get it over with. However, I do like the whole story of long-suffering tag team partner realizes how annoying his tag team partner actually is. I love that gimmick. I find it really funny. It's like normally they team together and he doesn't have to deal with how annoying Jiro is, but now he finally realizes how annoying he actually is to deal with in person. That was funny to me. And then once they actually started wrestling, I really enjoyed it. It took a while. It took like 25 attempts. But once they got to the wrestling, it was fun. And I don't dislike Jiro. I think he has a very particular niche. I think he was created for people in the venue. And I think if you're there, this is a lot of fun. You get to play around with him. You get to take pictures. It's not fun for people watching, but I think that's why he exists. But I would love to see him wrestle a bit more like he did once the match got started, because I enjoyed that. I thought they had great chemistry. There were a lot of good moves. I don't know any of the moves, but they were good. they were fun. And I enjoyed Jiro as the chicken shit face. You have a lot of chicken shit heels. He's a chicken shit face. He will avoid anything if he can, and he'll still be the face in the story because he's always tiny compared to everyone else. But that's like the dynamic I enjoy. And Tachibana getting his hands on Jiro, and realizing he's fucking annoying. I should punch him in the face. is is great.
Like what you said is true. Like Jiro is way more fun live. Like even when he does like his second entrance is still fun, but you kind of get sick of it. And the fans love it. Like he could do 10 entrances and they'll want more. It's just like, calm down. Like, let's get on with the wrestling. I did like his team with Tachibana in Tag League though. I gotta admit, I like their stupid little dance they did, and Tachibana's great. I think he carried the team for me because Jerry's hit or miss. And he was missed for
Yeah,
me this month.
I think Jiro is a case of he was created for people who go to wrestling once every 4 months,
Yeah.
not people who watch every single show. Because if you haven't seen him for 4 months and he finally shows up in your area, or you finally get the money to go to a show, then it's like, oh my God, Jiro is here. Let's celebrate. Then it's fun. But if you, like us, watch every show and you're watching it, most of them in front of a laptop or whatever, that's less fun.
Yeah. So moving on to a fun day. I really like this. So this was the Valentine's show. We had Ryu Inoue, Seigo Tachibana, and Tashi Nagao defeated Asuka Oyagi, Musashi, and Ryzen Hayato in 13 minutes and 17 seconds. Riki Honda defeated Seki Yoshioka in 10 minutes and 4 seconds. Hideki Suzuki, Hikaru Sato defeated Dan Tamura and Shotaro Ashino in 12 minutes and 17 seconds. Rei Sato defeated Kuma Arashi in 10 minutes and 34 seconds. And in the main event, Yuma Anzai, Ren Ayabe, and Kurushio Tokyo Japan defeated Kento Miyahara, Yuma Aoyagi, and Hokuto Omori in 18 minutes and 9 seconds. So I really loved day 3. I thought it was so much fun. So just like day 2, the match I was really looking forward to had June in it. His injury, obviously. But what I loved, and that actually really surprised me, was Yoshioka versus Honda. I thought this was so much fun for such a random match. Like, they had a running gag where Honda was shouting right near Yoshioka's ear, and then Yoshioka's like, stop, like, I'm deaf, like, no more, please. Seki really played it up. It didn't feel forced, though, which really added to it. Yoshioka doing the 4 count spot was great, and denying Honda his 4 count spot was also great because Honda just crumbled on the floor like a little kid having a tantrum. It's just so random. It only went for 10 minutes. It felt like it went for longer in a good way, not a bad way. It just was like one of those matches that came out of nowhere. I'm just like, holy shit, this is really good. Like, please go watch it if you haven't, because in any other card, I'll be like, yeah, skip this. Like, I don't need to watch this. But yeah, no, go watch this. This was great.
Yeah, I agree. This was one of the matches I wanted to talk about from this show. And I had no expectations because I haven't seen either guy wrestle singles all that much. Like it's been 5 months. So to get to get a singles match out of them was a lot of fun. Honda is one of those guys who is, he could be annoying, right? His personality and his character could be annoying if done wrong, but he isn't. He's endearing. And that's I don't know how he does it, because everything about him should be annoying, but he's not. He's like loud and he's in your face, and he's, especially when he's next to his Elpida partners, because all 3 of them are much more relaxed and introverted and quiet than he is. But he's just endearing, and the fact that he starts crying when he doesn't get his way, like he is a little kid. He's like a little kid in a grown man's body, and somehow that makes for a great wrestling character. I didn't expect this to happen, but it has. And then Yoshioka is, when he's with Musashi, he's like nice. He's sweet. But when he's by himself, he's kind of a bully and kind of a mean person. So you've got the really big hulking baby versus the smaller bully. And somehow it works. They had great chemistry. It was a lot of fun. The spots made sense. The sound-based offense that you mentioned was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. And Yoshioka kept the 1, 2, 3, 4 thing going like the rest of the tour. I think he used it in the 4th show as well. And it's like, this is great. Why didn't I ever watch you guys wrestle before? If it has been a singles match, I don't know if they've wrestled before.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't wouldn't expect them to. But this is one of those happy happenstance things that make you go, well, I didn't know I needed this, but apparently I do. And it was great fun.
Yeah, I think also the venue, Shinkiba First Ring, it's one of my favorites of All Japan Wrestling. It really adds to every single match. I think that's why I love this show so much. And it really added to this match too, because they just go 100%, like straight away after the bell rings. They're all in, and I love it. So the main event was absolute chaos. Kenzo, Yuma, and Omori come out, and we're forced to wait forever for Jiro, of course. I'm like skipping like 10 seconds on the All Japan streaming website. And at one point, like the referee like tackles him to get him in the ring. I'm just like, okay, skip, skip, skip. But what I loved is when the camera finally focused on the ring again. Omori's in Yuma's entrance jacket and Yuma's in Omori's cape. And Omori really pulls it off. I'm not sure Yuma really suits a cape, but he's using it like he's Dracula, and I loved it so much. But the match, it was just like I don't know how to explain it. Like I can't really do a play-by-play because it was just utter chaos, and I fucking loved it. It's what the fans needed to send them home. Happy Valentine's Day from All Japan.
Yeah, this match was, like you said, chaos in the best way possible. First of all, the whole switching gear, the camera didn't pick it up, which I think was bad. Bad. Less focus on Jiro, just focus on the guys being silly in the ring waiting for him. And that's the one reason why I sometimes don't skip Jiro stuff, just because I'm curious what the guys will do waiting for him. And sometimes they do really funny, stupid shit. And this is one of those examples. And it's like, once again, I feel like Yuma and Hokuto are good friends because they do this shit a lot. And they have the same sense of humor. So to them, this would be funny. And it was. And I agree, Hokuto looked great in that jacket. Didn't expect to see that, but it happened, and I'm happy it did. And there were a couple of like really great fan pictures of him posing for fans, and like great time had by all. And and then the Jiro as in a temporary Elpida member thing. I made this joke on my Twitter, Ayabe coming out, right? Imagine, like, I'm an introvert. Imagine Ayabe as the hyper introvert that he is, looking at a ring and seeing not only Hokuto Omori, Kento Miyahara, Yuma Aoyagi, but also Jiro. Oh. I would die.
That's my nightmare.
No,
yeah.
No, I'm out. Thank you very much. Anzai can wrestle with Jiro 2 against 3. I'm done. Obviously, he didn't do that, but it was a funny visual of him just walking out and looking at the ring, scared, apprehensive, like, oh my god, these personalities. And then Elpida choosing Jiro as like the master of the operation, like the brains. And I'm like, they didn't have Hayato, so they were like, well, someone has to tell us what to do. And they chose Jiro, which didn't go well, but was very funny. And on the other side, the other 3 were also ridiculous, and it wasn't going well because all of them are out of their minds and weird. And I love them for it. But yeah, it was chaos, and of course Omori took the pin, but it was a lot of fun. You're not gonna get like the high class wrestling in this, but you're gonna leave happy and excited and having had a good time. So, and I think that's what these shows are all about. You have some good matches, but you leave happy.
Yeah. At one point, Yuma's hands were really white. I was like, what's wrong with his hands? Did he put powder on? Did he wrap his whole hand? Then I realized he's wearing Omori's gloves as well. I didn't notice that till he started wrestling with the gloves on. I was like, he should have worn the hat too. He didn't wear the hat.
Yeah, it probably got thrown away or something by that point. But just that's Yuma. That's what both Yuma, Kento, and Hokuto have that. When they're not doing something, they think of something to do. And some guys will just wait, but they're always thinking about something to amuse the crowd.
Yeah.
Which it sounds exhausting so I could never be friends with them.
Mm.
But it's really fun to watch as a fan.
Yeah, and just like we said, this match was this show was so much fun. Like the opening junior tag, that was great. Of course it was. The like pure wrestling match with Suzuki and Sato on one side versus Dan and Ashino on the other side was great. Ray Sato versus Kumarashi. Like these are just two big dudes running into each other. Like what more do you want? And I love when Ray ran up to stand on Kuma and he's like, Happy Valentine's Day. Like it's not pretty happy for Kuma.
I have a gif of this. I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's the funniest thing ever where Ray skips towards this spot. Have you seen it?
Maybe.
Shall I look it up? If you give me like a couple of seconds, I will look it up for you.
Yeah.
Because it's the funniest thing ever. I sent it, so it should be in the chat for you.
He's so happy doing his little skip.
He's skipping to the ring. It's the cutest thing ever. I don't know why he did that. It's like, does he realize it looks like he's skipping, or?
It's just the charm of the Sato brothers.
It is, and I had made a similar gif of June doing this spot, and he didn't skip. So Ray is now my favorite.
June's too cool to skip.
Yeah. I have to mention about the Suzuki Sato versus Dan Ashino match. I would deem that the grapple fuck match.
Yeah.
Lots of grapple fucks there.
If you just like wrestling, like straight down the line wrestling, no goofiness, go watch this match. But the whole card's worth a watch, I say.
Yeah, that was one of those matches that you shouldn't pause because it looks wrong. You should just close the window and not have it on your screen.
We come to the last day, and it's the big show. So we had Kento Miyahara and Tashi Nagao defeated Naruki Doi and Senior Sato in 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Renayabe, Ruki Honda, and Seigo Tachibana defeated Hokuto Amore, Jack Kennedy, and Kuma Arashi in 14 minutes and 22 seconds. In the Goro TV title match, Yuko Miyamoto defeated Kurosho Tokyo Japan in 12 minutes and 59 seconds. Hideki Suzuki, Kengo Mashimo, Kara Sato, and Seki Yoshioka defeated Musashi, Dan Tamura, Shotaro Ishino, and Ryu Inoue in 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Yuma Anzai and Ryzen Hayato defeated Takuya Nomura and Fuminori Abe in 13 minutes and 51 seconds. Asuka Oyagi defeated Rei Saito in 15 minutes and 31 seconds. And in the main event, Triple Crown title match, Jun Saito defeated Yuma Aoyagi in 23 minutes and 48 seconds. So where do you want to start?
There's a lot of matches that I kind of want to talk about. First of all, Hideki Suzuki, Hideki Suzuki, Kengo Mashimo, Hikaru Sato, and Seki Yoshioka versus Musashi, Dan Tamura, Shotaro Ishino, and Ryo Inoue. This was, I compared it to the Child of Divorce era match, like Musashi versus Yoshioka was like a struggle. And Musashi seemed sad about it. I'm not sure Yoshioka was sad about it. He seemed into it. He was like, oh, I finally got to slap Musashi around, which was sad. It was really sad. It's leading to something, I'm assuming. I hope it's not leading to heartbreak, because Musashi would cry and I would cry. Don't break them up, please. But I feel like a singles match is definitely coming. In the future.
Yeah.
And then Hideki's talking about funny relationships. Hideki Suzuki and Kengo Mashimo. I feel like Suzuki likes Kengo a lot more than Kengo likes Suzuki. Because I'm kind of used to Hideki Suzuki just slapping people. But he was like hugging Kengo and like all over him. And I'm like, sir, I don't think he likes you as much as you like him. I think you need to reassess this relationship. He doesn't seem into it, but that's funny. And this match was, I wouldn't say it was like the highest quality match I've ever seen, but the interactions were a lot of fun. You had a lot of storyline things going. The Bakanoji Dai thing Yoshioka being a temporary member and then getting kicked out at the end of the match and being very sad about it. And Inoue still doing great. Same with Ash, I feel like Inoue does get like a bit of a focus during these matches, not as much as I'd like to see, but they are still keeping him at a level where you could see him challenging for something in the future.
I feel like Suzuki is like auditioning people without their knowledge to be like his new Suwama because he misses Suwama. He needs like a new buddy that he can fight with, he can act like a child with, but tag with. And poor Kengo, it was his turn.
Yeah, but he has a thing with Dan going.
Yeah, but Dan's
Dan
not like
doesn't
the
want him.
fun-loving guy like Suwama.
Dan doesn't want him. I will slap you because I'm into that kind of shit, but I will not be your friend.
No.
And Kengo isn't into that kind of shit, and he doesn't want to be Hideki's friend. So that's strike 2. So he needs to find someone. I think Yoshioka would be into it, but Hideki isn't into it. No. So lots of struggles.
A match that I absolutely loved was the opening match. Kento and Tashin have been posting videos online together. They've been working out of the dojo, taking naps in the bunk bed. Of course, Kento had the top bunk. They were making Chenko. It was all leading up to a special tag team move, and it was a double drop kick. And the fans were desperate to see it. I was desperate to see it. The first time they tried it, didn't work because Doi held the ropes, and he was like the perfect person for them to face and like yell at the crowd when he denied the drop kick. But we got it. We got the double drop kick. I just love this team. I love this little green rookie we have, Taishin. He's just doing so well, and I'm so happy for him that he gets to tag with Kento. Because this is a rookie, and how many rookies tag with the ace of the company? Yeah, I just loved it. It's a little match, but just the little things just make me so happy.
No, I understand, and it's so cute. It's I compare them to Pokemon evolutions, and Kento Miyahara is the fully evolved version, right? And Nagao is the basic starter Pokemon who you can see that he has everything that he needs. He just needs time and experience. And just to have them in the same team and to have the constant interactions that they have. I remember my first introduction to both of them was Kento crawling into bed with Nagao, and me going, Kento, maybe don't crawl into bed with the barely legal rookie. Kento, no. He did it anyway. It's fine. It was cute in the end, but questionable decisions. And just them growing as a team. And it's the funny bit that Nagao kind of feels like the mature one of the two, which is the funniest thing ever, because I feel like Kento would be, if something goes wrong, he'd be the one crying on the outside, and Nagao would be like, why are you crying? Don't be silly. And that's the funniest thing ever between the ace of the company and the rookie. And then you've got them against Naruki Doi and Senor Saito. And Naruki Doi, I've said this before, he feels like the only guy in All Japan who's actually trying to get booed. A lot of wrestlers will play heel, but not to the extent that he does. He actually looks to get people to hate him. And I appreciate that about him, and it makes the other team even better because you've got the rookie who is getting bullied by this guy who wants everyone to hate him, and it's great. Senor Saito I could do without. I'm not too enthused about him.
The Saito brothers, like the team, they need someone who can take pins. And yes, I appreciate. It's not really offensive. He's just there.
Yeah, he's fine. I don't want him gone or whatever, but I have no special connection to him because there's very little to him.
Okay, so my confession. I was secretly hoping the astronauts would win the All Asia title match simply because that means we get more Nomura in All Japan, and all I want is a Nomura, Takui Nomura, Naoya Nomura. It doesn't matter. Give me one. But honestly, this match was great. Like, what do you expect from these four guys? It was so much fun. Astronauts are such a fantastic team, and they've shown for years now. And Haito and Anzai have shown their excellent team with the double work, and they're just going to get better. That's the thing. They're just going to get more better. They had slapping, kicking, submissions. Like, it was all there. It's what you expect, and it was perfect. And it was just so good. And I love that they gave Haito the pin. It wasn't Anzai, because Anzai could come and easily pin either one of these two guys. But it was Haito in the end. And I love that he got this moment. Dan Tamura and Hideki Suzuki were out next to challenge, which is very interesting.
Well, I think I have to say I'm leaving now because how dare you suggest that Yuma Anzai and Rising Haito lose the title. I don't think we can be friends now. No,
Friendship over.
Friendship over. Over wrestling. No, all kidding aside, this match was this is what I love about wrestling. And this is probably my favorite match from this month. Because it's exceptional wrestling, exceptional tag team wrestling, and I love tag team wrestling. And then lots of emotional stuff. Like Hayato getting attacked and bullied and tortured for the entire match, and Yuma repeatedly having to save him in increasingly impressive ways. Like the first time he has to Abe, he has to push Abe away and then get to Nomura and get him off of, and he literally lifts him and suplexes him off of Hayato. And then the second time he has Takuya Nomura on him, and he has to physically pull Nomura with him to kick Abe off of Hayato. And that's what I love about wrestling. Those kind of interpersonal relationships and situations that feel desperate, like, oh, he could step any moment. I have to do whatever I can to save my partner. And both teams had that. And both teams had great tag team work and great teamwork. Like there's a moment where Abe like signals to Nomura, Hayato's left arm or right arm, one of the two arms, is injured. Focus that one. And it's a small bit, and the camera might not even have picked it up for all he knew, but he did it anyway. And that's great about tag team wrestling. And just, I love this match. I could rave about it for days. This is also the one I've been suggesting to people to watch. Like, if you watch one match from this month, have it be that one.
Yeah.
Just A+.
Definitely. Dan and Hideki are, I want to say strange. I can't think of another word, so I'm going to say strange challenges. Thing is, Yuma Anzai defeated Hideki in a Triple Crown match. Haito defeated Dan in a junior title match and took the belt from him. So this is interesting. They've each got one win over the other. So I don't know. I don't have strong feelings who will win like in other matches. I'm kind of 50-50 on this. What about you?
If I look at it from a position of Hayato and Anzai win, then I can really see this, because both Suzuki and Tamura would like torture the other guy. And it puts the popular baby faces as like the underdogs, even though Anzai is one of the top stars of the company. Suzuki has more experience and has tortured him in the past, and like Suzuki can make anyone look like they're on the verge of tapping or giving up.
Yeah.
And I think that would be another great match of, oh, they have to overcome the opponents who are looking to destroy them. If you're looking at it from Suzuki and Tamura build their relationship and become an actual tag team, which Suzuki has been trying by slapping him in the face, I think that would need more time.
Yeah.
I think you would have to build that for longer. And I don't see that happening right now. If I have to put money on it, I think this is another defense for Elpida. But I've been wrong before. Like, plenty of times.
I see. I think I said last month, I think that Elpida should lose the All Asia titles to Elpida. So Honda and Ayabe should defeat them.
Yeah, I agree, especially if you want to build up Elpida
Mm,
and keep them at the strongest faction, kind of.
mm,
Like Saito's, so I wouldn't say Saito's are the strongest faction just because it's only two of them that are strong, whereas Elpida, all four of them, I
yeah.
would consider strong contenders in All Japan. Then having one team overcome the other is the way to go.
Mm.
And by that point, you can have Yuma and Hayazo go for single stuff again.
Okay. So to Asuki versus Ray. Asuki winning was great. The match lasting 15 minutes was not. I reckon they could have easily got rid of 10 minutes from this. Basically, keep the ending because I like the ending, like Asuki reversing the barbecue bomb or whatever it's called. But just like have Ray dominate Asuki for 5 minutes straight and then go for his finisher, but then Asuki quickly rolls through and gets the win. I don't know. It didn't need to go that long. That's my review of this match.
I can see what you mean, but I feel like they kind of wanted to mirror the main event, and have it be like a lead-in for
Mm,
that match. So they were like, we have to tell the story a bit longer. You can't just have it be a squash match. Also, because I feel like Atsuki winning was to get rid of Ray, as in being a credible challenger for after the result of the main event. And if you have Ray squashing Atsuki for the entire match, then he would still look like a credible challenger. So I don't know. I didn't mind it. I saw the logic in having it go a bit longer.
no, I didn't
But
even think that. Yeah, like June said to Ray, like, get more singles wins. And he's a singles and he lost to a junior. Like, Jesus, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, you brought
yeah,
up that. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a great point.
And I feel like that's intentional because it's like before the Champion Carnival.
Mm.
Like, oh, you lost to a junior. Well, you better prove yourself.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if Ray wins Champion
Mm.
Carnival and he gets like the anger and from losing to a junior is what does it, what makes him win.
Yeah. Okay. So, Triple Crown match. It was fine. It certainly got better the longer it went, but it wasn't as good as Anzai versus June from January. There were nice spots here and there, and seeing Yuma hit the lariat always pops me because he hardly does that. Maybe I need to rewatch. June's new finisher looks cool, but it was a bit confusing. So he kind of lifts Yuma up for a jackhammer, but then spins him around the other way while dropping him. So it looks like Yuma has June in a DDT, but it's not. And I don't know, just watch it. I described it really weird, but if you watch it, you'd be like, okay, yeah, that's what she's talking about. It's called Days Gone, which only makes me think of the video game. So maybe it's June's favorite. I don't know why he called it that. June win was never in doubt for me. I was like, nah, Yuma's not gonna win. Especially because Asuki won before. You can't have two Aoyagi wins in a day. It just doesn't work. Um, we'll talk about what happens next, who comes out, but what do you think of the match?
I liked it well enough. I didn't like it as much as the Anzai match, but I kind of went into it not expecting too much because I felt like June was a little injured still.
Mm,
And there were a couple of moments during the match where I could see him wobble and touch his leg. And I was like, well, it's a lot to ask. Like Yuma Oyagi isn't the biggest guy on the roster, but he's also not the smallest. And Jun Saito having to like tow him around and throw him around on a bum ankle
yeah.
kind of it seems like a struggle. Um, and to be honest, this is sacrilege, but I'm not hugely into the type of wrestling that the Saitos do. I'm not a big guy, a wrestling fan. I can appreciate it, and a lot of the time I can enjoy it, but I'm more of a Yuma Oyagi kind of person
Yeah.
who straddles the line between big guy and smaller guy and can do various things. So this was never going to be my favorite match. I think the advantage that Anzai had is that he can still conceivably play the underdog role against someone like June,
Mm,
Whereas Yuma Oyagi is never an underdog. He plays like the underdog and he does it well. But you're always like, well, yeah, but you're Yuma Oyagi.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the disadvantage that Yuma has nowadays. It's too good. You should just be more shit.
I do love these two guys. Something I'm just not liking that much is just how much outside brawling happens in every Saito's match now. It's kind of like skipping Jiro's entrance. It's like now we got to skip the outside brawling and until they get back in the ring. I don't know, with Champion Carnival coming up and both Saitos, I'm just like, how much outside brawling do we need? Like just, I don't know. I just wish I liked this match better because I really like these two guys. But Kento is out to challenge. I don't know. June's reign might be up. Kento hasn't held the belt for a while now. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm on two fronts about this because my theory is Ray. My theory is Ray wins Champion Carnival. And considering the people he's faced, right, June, setting Davey Boy Smith Jr. aside, Yuma Anzai, Yuma Oyagi, and then Kento Miyahara. If he beats Kento, he's beaten basically the current ace and the two next aces in line. That would really set up June well. And if Ray then beats his brother, then you've not only got Jun Saito having beaten Anzai, Oyagi, and Miyahara, but then Ray has beaten the guy who's beaten those three guys. And that completely creates stars. That there's no need to do anything else with the stages. They are at the top. And considering how popular they are and how much extra stuff they're doing, like TV shows and movies and
the album
and songs, it wouldn't surprise me if they're doing all this to quickly build those two guys. And beating Kento makes sense. And you could have Kento be the one who eventually ends the Saito's reign. Yeah, I think looking at Champion Carnival, that's what I expect to happen. I could be wrong. I have been watching for 5 months. It's just like reading tea leaves the way I do with New Japan, but New Japan is not all Japan, so I could be completely wrong. But that feels the focus, especially because they've introduced like the Aoyagi thing with Atsuki. The brothers thing was a focus. And why was it the focus? Because of the Saito brothers. So everything is about the Saito brothers right now. And if you want to end the story, then Kento does make a lot of sense. But why end the story with June and not include Ray?
True. I just think you can never count out Kento.
Oh,
He's just always there in the shadows lurking around the belts. But I do think he will win the tag belts with Yuma.
Yeah, one thing to say about Kento possibly winning is that whoever wins Champion Carnival is guaranteed to get a good match out of Kento. So if you want to build whoever wins Champion Carnival, then Kento is the best option to have be the champion they challenge. So
yeah,
devil's advocate, both options make sense.
One thing
Watch it not be Ray or Kento.
Should be a Shino, and then he wins the belt.
Oh, you should want Ayabe to win.
True. We'll get to that in a second. But before that, I just want to say something that's been on my mind. So June is a 5-crown champion. So he has two tags and the Triple Crown. He's a 5-crown champion. I don't see anyone calling him that. When Yuma was 5-crown, people were like, he's a 5-crown. When Kento was 5-crown, he's 5-crown. I don't know why, because I forget it all the time too. And I think, this is so dumb, I think it's because he doesn't carry the tag belts around his chest like Kento and Yuma did, and the Triple Crown around his waist. So you don't see him as a 5-crown champion. But I don't know, everyone's just forgetting. But he is 5-crown, and that's an amazing achievement. That's my thought I've had like this whole month.
It might be because people see him as still a new guy. and they don't really think about his accomplishments because he's like an up and coming guy instead of an established guy. I don't know. I never even thought about. I didn't know that term existed because I'm a baby All Japan fan. So
yeah, I want to know other people's thought about it because it just popped into my head. I'm just like, holy crap, he is a 5-crown champion. But that was All Japan in February. We have some exciting matches. Saito's versus Business Tag and Kento versus June. Champion Carnival is coming up and we got the participants. So we're not going to go too much into detail here because I will have a bonus episode coming out shortly about the carnival. But a quick refresh. In Block A, we have Kento Miyahara, Jun Saito, Hideki Suzuki, Shota Ishino, Kuma Arashi, Kengo Mashimo, Zion, Cyrus, and Davey Boy. In Block B, we got Yuma Oyagi, Rei Saito, Hokuto Omaire, Yuma Anzai, Riki Honda, Reneyabe, Eagle Blanc, Mike DiVecchio, and from Dragon Gate, Madoka Kikuta. So, who do you think will take Block A and B, and who is your winner?
My winner is Rei. So I think he's winning Block B. So I'm just going to have a look at Block A. I don't think it'll be June because I think their match will be over the title if they face each other. So they wouldn't want to give that away. Maybe either like Kento or Suzuki, like one of the guys who can give Rei a really good match and make him feel in peril.
Yeah.
I hope it's not David Boy Smith Jr., but you never know. Cyrus also feel like maybe like two big guys in the final against each other. But Rei winning is my guess. I might be Ashino, but I don't want to go to the thing where he loses in the final.
Well, he did win once, and then the next day he's like, yeah, I got a fractured arm. So I guess that's worse than losing. Fracturing your arm.
Could also always be worse. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think Rei will win and he'll defeat Kento in the finals. He will do what June couldn't do last year. And that is his way to get a match with June for the belt. But like, I don't know. You never know.
Who would you want to be in the finals and win if you could choose?
I kind of always want to say Ishino because he didn't get his moment when he won a couple years ago. But it makes sense for Rei to win.
I'm not talking about sense. I'm just talking about if you could book All Japan's Champion Carnival, who's in the final and who's
Ishino
winning?
versus Honda. There you go.
Let's hope it happens. I'm not saying it will because I don't think it's likely, but let's hope so.
Okay. So now tell us about your wheel that you're doing on your podcast.
Yeah, okay. So I love me some wheels. I use wheels a lot. One of the segments is we spin the wheel and we talk about one of the wrestlers that was on the show. But we also do, we've always, well, not always, we've done this for quite a while for the New Japan shows, is whenever there's a tournament or anything that has a lot of people involved, we spin the wheel and we assign someone a random wrestler. And I decided to do this for the Champion Carnival as well. So I spun the wheel for myself, for example, and I got Cyrus. Jonathan was the first person who spun the wheel on the show, and he was stuck with David Boy Smith Jr. I'm so sorry, Jonathan. My podcast partner James spun the wheel. He got, who did he get? I forgot who he got. I am so sorry. I think it was Ashino, actually. Might have been Ashino. And I asked you to spin the wheel as well, because I wanted the people who I was planning to podcast with to spin the wheel. And the idea is whoever gets closest to winning gets a prize drawn by me, like literally with pen and paper drawn. Who did you get?
So I spun. I almost got Anzai. It just ticked over to the next person, and the next person is Reneabe.
How do you feel about this? How do you feel about your chances of winning?
No, he's not gonna win. He won the Royal Road. He can't win 2 tournaments in a row. But I think he'll have a better tournament than he did last year. So
Well, you don't have to win. You have to get closest to winning. So if he gets more points than everyone else, or he gets to the final and no one else does, you would still win. So I'm not like between Ashino, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Cyrus, and Ayabe, I don't think he has a bad chance of getting further than those guys so far. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'll make one wheel for the people I podcast with, and then I'll create one for the listeners of my podcast, for the listeners of your podcast. They can find me on Twitter at smarkInfested, and I'll place a link to the wheel there, and everyone can participate, and I'll draw for the person who wins there as well. If like 10 people get Rei Saito and I will just spin randomly and choose one of them. But yeah, if you want to participate, that'll be a lot of fun. Just find me on Twitter and I'll add you.
Yeah. No. I'm excited. I sometimes do make wheels and spin it just for stuff. I'm like, I don't know, should I do option A or option B? It's always fun.
It is. I love making wheels and I love playing games with them. Like on my Twitter, I would randomly be like, create tag teams, for example, like put all the people from either New Japan or Old Japan on the wheel and then spin twice. This is the new tag team. What are their names? Yeah. What is their name? What do they do? Like stuff like that. I really enjoy wheels because they're so random and you get the weirdest combinations. Yeah. Love me some wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, but look out for that. They're the Champion Carnival participants. That's what our thoughts. As I said, I'll have a more detailed episode later with the whole schedule so we can go through like who's opening day one, because I'm curious to see who Kento faces, because Kento hasn't won day one Champion Carnival in 5-6 years now. So like I hope it's not Davey Boy, because I know like Kento, break the streak, please. But there's some people I think why you here. I'll get into that later, but it looks okay. The participants look okay.
Yeah, except for the one Davey Boy Smith Jr. I'm fine with these guys. To be honest, I don't know Aigle Blanc or Madoka Kikuta. So this will be my introduction to them. I don't know Zion.
No one does.
So it's always fun to get introduced to guys, and I'm quite excited that Kengo is here because I used to really love him back in 2018-19. I watched a lot of Takataichi events and he was on there, so to be able to watch him in singles matches will be fun. I'm excited.
But now for match of the month and rest of the month. So what is your match of the month?
Well, I already alluded to it. It's the astronauts versus Yuma Anzai and Rising Hayato match. It just ticked all the boxes. A great rewatch, I think. If you rewatch, you'll notice a lot of things that you didn't notice the first time. Great energy, great tag team stuff. I love tag team wrestling when it's done well. And the emotional investment from both teams. Like, you can actually believe that they're desperate to get to their partner and save them. That's wrestling for me. That's what I love about wrestling. So definitely watch that one.
I think the slaps they delivered to each other have been like burnt into my brain.
Hayato slaps are just so cunty. I don't know if that's the correct words to describe them, but he just feels so bitchy when he does them. Like, fuck you guys. And then he turns around to pose. It's like, it's great. Love it.
Yeah, so that was my match of the month, but it was closely followed by Honda versus Yoshioka. They almost took out match of the month.
Yeah, understandable. I think that one was so great because it was a surprise. And you could kind of go to the tag team match, into the tag team match, and go, yeah, that's going to be great. Just knowing both teams and the quality that the Elpida tag team matches have been, you can expect this to be great. And Honda Yoshioka was like, I didn't know we were going to get it, and I didn't know it was going to be great, and yet it was.
For Wrestler of the Month, I don't know, this one was hard. Other months, I've been like, yep, it's this person. Straight away, it's this person. This one, I'm like, I don't know. I just picked Yuma Aoyagi because he was in 3 title matches. Like, okay, he was wearing a cape. Why not? I don't know. I really don't know for this month. I don't think anyone really stood out from the other wrestlers, but I think Yuma had like a really, really packed month where he had to turn on for 3 of the 4 shows because he was in title matches.
Yeah, we talked about this before, and that I have no idea. Normally, we should have been like, well, June, because he's the champion and he's in title matches and stuff. But he was not on 2 of the shows, so he was gone for half a month, and I really don't know. Like last month, I would have had a definite answer, and here I'm like, Yoshioka was in a couple of singles matches that I really enjoyed. And his story with Musashi was great. Really enjoyed that one. So if I had to choose, like, based solely on the matches and not my own personal taste, I would say, well, he had a great month.
Yeah.
And otherwise, yeah, Yuma Yagi, never a wrong answer. But I always feel bad about answering Yuma because I feel like there's a lot of bias involved there. And I'm like, oh, is this a bias speaking, or are you being a fair and impartial?
This show is so biased towards Yuma Aoyagi. Do not worry. He's my favorite too.
I mean, we are so biased to Yuma Aoyagi on my podcast that the banner has him on it. The podcast icon has him on it, and the intro tune has part of his theme song on it. So exceptionally biased towards Yuma Aoyagi.
So we kind of ended on like a down note. Like, I don't know who we pick, but I reckon it's been a good month. The show on Valentine's Day and the big show were really, really good. Day 2, I don't think it was that great, but day 1 was really fun too. Yeah,
and the Valentine's Day one it was a lot of fun, even if only for the chocolate horror situation where they would throw chocolates at each other and at the crowd.
Yeah,
and there was I forgot to mention it, but there was one really funny moment where Yuma threw chocolate and it bounced back into the ring, and you could see Hokuto Omori beeline for it, like, that one's mine. And then he played around with it for the rest of the match. It was crazy funny ha moments that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, but who doesn't love chocolate? Would run after it bounces back into the ring.
A chocolate for Yuma, that's even better.
Yeah. So we've come to another end of an episode of Jumping Knee Pod. Thank you all for listening and supporting the podcast. If you want to find me, you can do so at sisterjessie and rollrose72 on Twitter, and I'm also on Bluesky at sisterjessie.
You can find me at my Twitter account, smarkInfested. I also have a Bluesky account of the same name. I am part of the True Penny Show podcast group, and I have my own accounts for All Japan, which are AJPW GIFs, where I post GIFs for pretty much every show, and All About All Japan, and the handle for that is All About AJPW on both Twitter and Bluesky.
Yes, please follow the GIF account, please follow your personal account, please listen to the podcast, because more Japan is always good. So, yes. Anyway, so thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you all for listening. I have been your host, Jessica, and I'll see you next time for more All Japan Pro Wrestling.
This has been a Countout Podcast. Ring Post Radio is the only show hosted by Ryan Knightsey and Scotty Edwards that talks about the entire world of professional wrestling. With new episodes coming out every Sunday, there is absolutely no reason to not listen to real, honest wrestling opinions from two crazy maniacs. Have a hot boy summer and listen along to Ring Post Radio every Sunday on the Countout Network.